moment. Okay. Hello, everybody. So it is the roundtable with India. It is 12, I think, roundtable for the program Resilia. So I just want to say hello to everybody. And so, Dadi, if you want to say something for the beginning.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. But it's morning and afternoon and night somewhere else. This for me is a special presentation. It is the 12th roundtable of the UNESCO Resilia Art project, to which UNEMA joined back in May this year. But it is a debate table of the National Center of India, to which I belong, and takes place at the special time. Normally, our Secretary General of UNEMA International, Idoia Otegu, who is also here online, would be introducing this section. We all wish her the very best and to get well and be with us very soon, Idoia. At this point, I would also like to a bit of a memory of somebody who supported UNEMA India in many ways and puppetry as well in India and in Delhi, Dr. Kapila Vatsyayan, who passed away last month. When we started these roundtables, we thought how deluded that at this time we would be almost out of the situation that led UNESCO to start the project. It is now clear that the situation not only has not ended, but is continuing and perhaps more harshly than last May. As you know, the objectives of these roundtables is to find out how this pandemic situation is affecting the puppet theatre, what measures have been taken in the different countries, and what prospects are, and what the prospects are. So far, we have had 11, and this is the 12th roundtable, of which 7 have been transnational, and 5, including this one, have been national. The intention is, before finalizing the project, to hold a series of thematic roundtables, and with them, we would end the project. The final report will be sent to UNESCO and will be presented at the UNEMA Congress, which we still cannot confirm if it will take place in Bali as planned, or if we will be forced to hold an online Congress. As you know, the Congress was meant to be this year in April, and it has to be postponed due to the pandemic. For now, what we can say is that the visibility and the result has been most interesting, and that the day after tomorrow, we have a meeting with UNESCO. There has been a meeting with UNESCO to deepen the matter and organize a roundtable with them on 20th March 2021. I do not want to extend myself anymore, simply before giving the floor to Garima Arya, Secretary of UNEMA Puppeteers Trust India, who will moderate this roundtable. I want to thank Clement Pretiaco for his work in coordinating the project and everyone who is making this possible at the back end, including our panelists. I always end my introduction with the words of Audrey Azoulay, General Director of UNESCO, when launching the Resilia Art movement last April. She said, "In this unstable and uncertain times, we need to look to the things that unite us, the things that show us the world in all its variations. And for that, we need artists. And I add to her words, we need puppeteers and the art of puppetry even more today than any time." And without further ado, I leave you with Garima, who will be in charge of introducing those who accompany her this evening, and for moderating this roundtable. They are chairperson, Miss Garima Arya, Director Drama Bars Puppet Company, Delhi, Mr. Gundu Raju, President UNEMA India, very well-known shadow puppeteer from Hassan, Karnataka, Professor Gaurang Charan Das, Director Sri Rama Institute of Shadow Theatre, Odisha, Mr. Sudeep Gupta, Director Dolls Theatre, Kolkata, Ms. Jyoti Ghosh, Director Trams Theatre, Mumbai, and Ms. Anurupa Roy, UNEMA India Board Member, Director Katha Puppet Arts Trust, Delhi. We also have with us Ranjana Pandey, who will round up in the end the roundtable of this evening. And she is one of the board members of UNEMA India, as well as the director of Jan Madhyam. Thank you. Over to you, Garima.
Thank you so much, Dadi. And of course, all of us know Dadi Padamji. He's a puppeteer and an artistic director of the Ishara Puppet Theatre Trust. He's also the director of the Ishara International Puppet Festival, which happens in India. It's a well-known annual festival wherein all artists from all over the world come and participate in that festival. He's the president of Unima International and a board member of Unima Puppeteers Trust India. So as you know, we all are here uh, wherein we are going to discuss that what were the questions that were really asked for this roundtable. You know why this roundtable came into existence now. Dadi has already spoken about that to us. The interesting part of this is that it has been going all over the world. These questions are being asked. These researches and surveys have helped us to understand and has given us an insight into what exactly is the situation in these COVID times everywhere around the world with the artists, especially the puppeteers. So the questions that were asked were you able to continue a cultural or artistic activity during the crisis? What are the fields in which you can continue to work in, and what could you not do during a period of confinement? So it's very interesting, wherein it's like the construction of puppets, script work, workshops, rehearsals, etc. So how does containment change your practice? So this was the question that was asked to all of the artists, especially puppeteers. And so how did they utilize this time was an important insight. The second question was that, have you ever experienced another such period of confinement in your career? Most of the answers were no, because we haven't been in a confinement like this ever, until, of course, there was an exception. How do you consider getting back into your activities, which also included economy, relationship to the audience? Because a virtual show is very different from a performance where the physical performance is concerned, where there are physical audience who sit in front of you. So how is it different? And how do you consider getting back into your activities? Did new technologies change your practices during the crisis? This is what all the panelists here are going to cover these points today, and they're going to give you an overview of how technology has also maybe or maybe not helped or changed practices during the crisis. Have you been in contact with your artist community? And if yes, then in what way? What were the elements of solidarity? Specifically for Unima Center, for other puppet associations or puppet theatre groups as well. Did you receive public funds or government support during the containment or for the resumption of your activities? Crises that puppeteers may face, and how can they respond to them? This was also a bit scary, but at the same time, something that we have understood out of this pandemic situation, that anything can happen anytime, and are we prepared? Um, what particular challenges are female creators facing during this pandemic, and how can we envisage the training of future artists? So, well, these were all of the questions that were asked to the artists, and the panelists sitting here have worked really hard in reaching out to the artists from different parts of India and putting this report together for all of you today, which is going to give us an insight into what was the real situation with the artists in this pandemic, and where are we going to go from here? What next? Which we will come to much later in this. But first, I'd like to introduce Ms. Anurupa, who Dadi has briefly introduced you to. I will take you into a little bit more to know about Anurupa here. So she's a puppeteer, puppet theatre director, and puppet designer. She is the founder and managing trustee of the Katkatha Puppet Arts Trust, a puppet theatre group based in Delhi since 1998. She has a diploma in puppet theatre from Dramatiska Institute for Film, TV, Drama and Radio at the University of Stockholm, Sweden. She has been trained in traditional glove puppetry from Italy. She has been a researcher in residence 2011 in Germany, and at the Institut International de la Marionette in France. So she has basically been in US and Zurich, and she's learned from there. She has been taking workshops, she's been training, and she has directed performances for Katkatha, TIE Company National School of Drama, and Jan Natyam Manch. She is the recipient of the Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar 2007 National Award for contribution to puppet theatre by the Ministry of Culture, and of course is the board member at UNIMA India as well. And I'm really happy that Anurupa, you're here, and please give us an overview of how was your survey in the North India. I think you're covering North India, and let's now hear from Ms. Anurupa. How did it all go?
Thanks, Garima. So to start it off, I just wanted to give you an overview that Resilart had a Asia Pacific Roundtable, which was in September. And for that, there were conversations we had across India. And today, the panelists present were some of them who were already in those conversations. So also just to say, because I'm getting messages on the UNIMA WhatsApp group, a lot of people are watching us. If any of you have questions, you can share your questions on the WhatsApp group or on the Facebook chat, and those will come to us at the end of the panel discussion, and I will begin. So just to give you a very brief overview, Gundu Rajuji and Atul, who couldn't be here today, Atul is the treasurer of UNIMA Puppeteers Trust. They were talking to puppeteers in South India and Maharashtra. Gundu Rajuji will give a report. Sudeep Gupta from West Bengal Dolls Theatre, he had been working with puppeteers in West Bengal, especially since the cyclone Amphan had hit West Bengal. A lot of them were very, very hard hit. So there were conversations with two groups of people that I'd been having for a while. And in this particular report, I'm just presenting what happened in Delhi, Rajasthan, with the Katputli community. And my report focuses entirely on the traditional puppeteers. So as you all know, that the lockdown was announced, there was a very short time that was given. And a lot of people were not even home in their own hometowns and were not in their homes. They had to quickly reach where they had to reach. Within about 48 hours, a lot of us, Dadi included, I think me, Ranjana, a lot of us, Garima, maybe you too, we started receiving phone calls from people we knew in the Katputli colony in Delhi, the erstwhile Katputli colony, and they there was an enormous food crisis that had hit these places. So just to give you a background, Katputli colony used to be in Shadipur. The colony was broken down, and subsequently all of the members of the colony have dispersed to 4 different parts. They are in Nangloi, Anand Parbat, and some of them are in Ghaziabad. And these are the transit camps that have been given by the government. Some of them have received the housing that was promised to them, but I think about 2/3 of them are still waiting for that housing to come along. I've recently received a message with a video of these small flats that were some of the flats that have been built, and that area is more or less demolished. So this construction work is still ongoing, and they were promised new apartments in 2 years. Some of the construction is already done. So in the transit camps, what has happened is normally somebody who wanted a show would come to Katputli colony, look for a dholakwala or a singer, manganiyar, or a langa singer, would look for Katputli walas, hire them for the day or for a season or for a project, and go away. Now that they're in 4 different transit camps, and then now because it's all completely scattered, it's very difficult to access the puppetry community. So after the food crisis began, a lot of campaigns to get food to them had begun. And I know that the larger UNIMA body, international body, had also contributed. One of the food networks, which was being run by Vijay from Shadipur, he was running a kitchen and providing food, which was cooked food to families. And then a dry ration campaign began. There's Ankit Gupta who provided dry ration. There's Zartab Khan who provided dry ration. Delhi had something called the Food Collective Network, which was providing dry rations. Remember, in this, about 60 odd people were from the Madari community who were living in Ghaziabad, And there was roughly what I have from the census is 2,800 families. Anand Parvat, about 1,200 Nangaloi and 60 in Ghaziabad, which are staying now in this outskirts UP area. In the meantime, I got a few calls also for hospitalization, couple of emergency medical calls. And Zartab Khan, who had connections with the government in Delhi, had managed to get some people to the local hospital. And this was not COVID cases, so it was very difficult to get them in because most of the beds were then assigned to COVID patients. Then we started getting phone calls from Jaipur. So at this point, Ruchi Bhargav, who had been in Gundu Rajuji's workshop, Unima workshop, she stepped in. Her husband Yogesh Narula works for an organization which is called Feeding Hands Jaipur, and they went to the community of Rajasthani Katputliwalas in Jaipur, and they had managed to distribute rations for 60 families. We'd been told for about 40 families. Once they reached there were many more. So that day they distributed it to 60 families, and the next day it was distributed to some more families. In the meantime, we also made contact because at this point, Teamwork Films had started something called Art Matters, and they were getting a lot of artists together, and there were lots of conversations with the Ministry of Culture, with the state governments. At this point, the Rajasthan government had responded, and they went to do a baseline survey to see what the situation was. Distress calls began to come in from Udaipur as well. And there is what started to happen is everybody started contacting people who could contribute. So there were contributions from friends. There were contributions from farms, the one that Dadi has written in the message, people who were sending up to like a ton of rice and dal in the day. Money was raised through various donation sites, keto sites. So at this point, there was a lot of firefighting going on as and this was running simultaneously with a lot of people who were raising money for the wage workers who had got stuck in different parts of the city or were walking home. Now, I just wanted to do an appraisal of what happened after that and what is happening with the community right now, because I've had conversations. Like I said, firstly, the first set of apartments, I've got a video from Puppeteer I know of the apartments that have been built for them. I mean, on the surface of it, they look interesting, but on the other hand, there is a lot of problems with space, rehearsal space, where will things be stored, etc., which the community is discussing. Some of the problems that were faced within the community were, as the food distribution began, a lot of counter complaints came. Somebody said, I'm not getting food. Somebody said, oh, I know somebody's hoarding food. This led to a lot of discussion, and a sort of an environment of a little bit of distrust had begun to come in. More recently, while that settled down and conversations started to happen, more recently, the update is that the Madari community, for example, they have already left Delhi a month ago. This community has walked up to Uttarakhand. They're going to go to Jammu. They're going to go to Himachal to perform. And as far as the music communities, which is the drummers as well as the singers, Langa Manganiyars, they're being hired for the upcoming weddings in Delhi. That has already begun. Unfortunately, the puppet community is the one which still does not have any work. They are still without regular income, which has become a problem. I spoke very recently to Vijay again, and at the moment he's being harassed by the local police station. They are saying, you took money from people, they've donated money to you, where is the money gone? He has shown them paperwork over and over again, but there's some sort of harassment that is going on. So the ground reality is that while there is firefighting and things happening, there is also this counter process, which is very counterproductive to everything which is happening. Lastly, what we also found out is that the government of Rajasthan had set up a digital portal on which handicrafts, craftsmen, artists can be selling products. So I went to that website. A lot of karigars have put in work for sale. Also, little puppets are up for sale, and some little things that puppeteers are making are up for sale. They are also giving shows to puppeteers every month, and a small amount of money is paid out to them. So this is basically my report of West India and what is happening with the Katputli colony and what is happening with the puppeteers. It is not a very good situation in terms of the work condition, because there is no work because physical spaces of performance haven't opened up. Some of the younger puppeteers have taken to digital platforms, and they are making shows mostly around COVID safety. For example, Vinay Bhatt has done a series of shows. So that is what is happening right now. And Garima, back to you. I think also run out of time.
Thank you so much, Anurupa. I think that is an insight into what's happening in the northern part of India. And as Dadi said, that Sonjoy Roy and his sons had contacted with a farm, also gave them huge amounts of dry rations and vegetables. So all these people who are working, sorry?
Sandhu farms. Sorry,
yes. So it's really nice where everybody is coming together and trying to help each other in this community, which is great. We'd also like to know now from Gundu Rajuji that how is it in South India? Gundu Rajuji is a traditional leather puppeteer from Karnataka. He is also the president of Unima Puppet Trust India. He has got 50 years of experience and has performed more than 25,000 shows at national and international levels. He has won silver medal in 3rd Delphic Games held in Korea on the 2019 September. He is a Gyan Vijnana awardee by Karnataka Janapada Yakshagana Academy and Rangabharti awardee from Nataka Academy. Gundu Rajuji has also received Ranga Kaustubha award by Ranga Sangeetha Parishad and SK Karim Khan award by Sahitya Parishad. So he's there in South India, and he practically is in contact with all, we can safely say, almost all puppeteers there in South India. And now over to you, Gundu Rajuji, for your report on what's the situation in South India with the art.
नमस्ते। कर्नाटका और आंध्र का पपेटरी के बारे में बात कर रहा हूं मैं। उनका हालत बहुत खराब हो गया अब, क्योंकि आंध्र के लोग, बहुत लोग धर्मवरम में रहते थे, वहां धर्मवरम छोड़ के वो गांव पे चले गए। और धर्मवरम में बहुत कोविड का केस बहुत ज्यादा हो गया। वो सब पपेटरी बनाते थे, कई लोग शो भी करते थे। चिदंबर राव, उनका भाई, वो सब लोग धर्मवरम छोड़ के वो तो गांव में चले गए। वो जाके वहां एक छोटा छोटा घर बना के वहीं रहने शुरू कर दिए। उनसे बात भी कर दिया, लेकिन शो किसी को भी शो नहीं मिला। गवर्नमेंट में कुछ भी हेल्प नहीं कर दिया। फिर ये हुआ ना, फिर ये हुआ सिर्फ वो लोग।
सॉरी, मैं आपके लिए थोड़ा ट्रांसलेट कर देती हूँ उन सब के लिए जो इंटरनेशनली भी ये देख रहे हैं. So just to translate in English to what he said is that there's a very bad state in Andhra in India, and the puppeteers there, the artists there had to leave and go back to their villages, build small houses there, and are living there now. They've got no shows at all coming their way, and neither did the government help them in any which way so far. And the situation out there is really sad. Gundu Rajuji.
हाँ, वो तो पपेट बना के, टेबल लैंप बना के बेचते थे, वो भी कहीं भी बेचने को नहीं मिला। उनसे ये क्या हुआ, आंध्रा कर्नाटका एक जैसा ही है, क्योंकि उत्तर भारत का कलाकार अलग है, दक्षिण भारत का कलाकार अलग है। उत्तर भारत का कलाकार का क्या है, गवर्नमेंट से ज्यादा लिंक है। वहां तो शहर के सब लोग जाते, प्रोग्राम करते हैं पपेटियर। दक्षिण भारत में ऐसा नहीं, सब पब्लिक के साथ काम करते ज्यादातर। यहाँ ट्रेडिशनल पपेटियर है, गांव गांव पे जाके शो कर लेते, वहां से राशन लाते, घर में रख लेते, ये कर लेते, लेकिन तो गवर्नमेंट से लिंक ज्यादा नहीं है यहाँ के कलाकार पपेटियर के साथ। ये क्या हुआ, उनका लॉकडाउन होने से बाहर निकलने नहीं हुआ उनको, वो प्रिपेयर नहीं हुआ थे। अब तो मार्च में लॉकडाउन हुआ, मार्च अप्रैल में उनका गांव गांव पे जाके शो करने का टाइम हो, राशन लाने का टाइम है, वो बहुत बड़ा दिक्कत हुआ उनको। उससे क्या हुआ, मैं उनको बता दिया, तो आपके पास पुराना पपेट है, पपेट बनाओ, रीपपेट बनाओ, स्क्रिप्ट बनाओ, कोई गाना अब ये करो, लेकिन कोई भी मानते नहीं थे। बाद में कई लोग सपोर्ट करने के लिए आए, राशन दिए। अरुंधति नाग ने 50,000 रुपए मेरे अकाउंट में डाल दिया, मैंने उनको 5,000 2,000 ऐसा कर दिया। लेकिन हंपनलिती में बड़ा, वो तो जानपद परिषद का उन्होंने एक 50 लोगों के लिए राशन दे दिए। एक अर्षा, एक उन्होंने भी राशन, एक एक कलाकारों को 1,500 रुपए का राशन खरीद के दे दिए।
Right. So, what Guru Rajuji is saying is that the situation in the north of South India and the south part of it is very different. The north part is still, you know, they have connections with the government, but the south doesn't have any connections with the government at all. From March to May is a very crucial time for all the artists because they they find their ration and they have to fill in their kitchens, but there were no shows, so there was no money. Now, Gundu Rajuji and some other people around individually and personally helped them. Somebody helped them with 50,000 rupees, somebody with 5,000, somebody with 2,000 rupees. Janpad Parishad took care of 50 families. But as a government effort for funding, there hasn't been much coming in their way right now. And it has been very, very difficult to even get food for their families and to survive in this situation. Gundu Rajuji.
तो बहुत लोग ने हेल्प करने के लिए आए पपेटियर को, आप तो राशन दे देते, पैसे दे देते, उनका अकाउंट का नंबर दो, लेकिन वो टाइम में ये हुआ, लेकिन उनके पास हम जाके पहुंचाने के लिए नहीं होता था। फिर भी क्या होता था, वो टाइम में अब बहुत लोग ने मैं हेल्प कर देता हूँ, मैं हेल्प कर देता हूँ, तो किससे पैसे मांगने का, राशन मांगने का करने शुरू कर दिए। लेकिन क्या बदनाम में शुरू हो जाते थे, हम तो कोई पार्टी नहीं मिला, कहीं जब कम से कम 50-60 किलोमीटर दूर पे है उनका घर, वहां जाके हम राशन पहुंचाने के लिए नहीं होता था। लेकिन क्या होता था, हम इनसे मांग के उनको नहीं दिया तो, लेकिन बदनाम हो जाता था। उससे हम तो मना किया, नहीं मेरे हाथ में नहीं हो सकता है, लेकिन उनका फोन नंबर दे देता हूँ, उनके पास जाओ। तो कई लोग उनको राशन दे दिए, लेकिन एक निबंधन पर, वो तो लॉकडाउन होने के बाद हम तो ऑनलाइन में शो कर देते, तब आप तो शो करना, हम शो करके हमको भेज देना। लेकिन क्या हालत हो गया इधर, अब लॉकडाउन कम हुआ, युवा कलाकार और बहुत काम करने का लेडी कलाकार जो है, अब तो गांव छोड़ दिए वो पूरे। कम से कम 50 लोग कलाकार पपेटियर अब एक एजेंसी के पास काम कर रहे हैं। क्या बेंगलुरु में सिटी में मरीजों को देखभाल करने का, गांव पे घर में जाके, उनके घर में जाके एक एक जाके रुक जाते, वो घर से बाहर नहीं आते, महीना तक उनके साथ वो एक मरीज को देख लेना है, उन्हें 15 से 20,000 रुपए देते हैं। एक बार अंदर चले गए तो वो 3 महीना 4 महीना घर से बाहर नहीं निकलते। ऐसे कम से कम 50 पपेटियर, एक्सपर्ट पपेटियर, वो तो मेरे साथ काम करने वाले, वो बहुत लड़की थे उसके, बहुत शो करते थे, वो सब जाके अंदर क्वारंटाइन जैसा हो गए, वो बाहर नहीं आ रहे। अब मैं उनसे बात किया फोन से, लेकिन आ जाओ अब तो कोई प्रोग्राम करेंगे। नहीं साहब, हम पपेट्री का बारे में हम सोचते भी नहीं है।
So the other situation that has happened, so of course, even if there were generous people who were personally helping out and wanted to send food and ration to various artists, the problem was the distances between these villages, which of course became very difficult for volunteers to go and deliver. There were no volunteers really. And for him to personally go and deliver to such places which are really far and remote villages was also becoming a major problem, lack of volunteers. And also in the COVID times, there was situations where the precautions had to be taken. So there was no support as such. Even if they were going online with their shows, it was very, very difficult. female artists especially suffered a lot. A lot of them had left the villages. A lot of them were taking care of the COVID patients, and because of which their 2 to 3 months had gone because they had to quarantine themselves as well. So that was another problem, and it had come to a situation where even if you talk about puppetry to them, they're like, don't even talk about this to us right now because we don't have food to eat and we have no shows, and how would puppetry help us in this situation? So the situation has been quite gloomy there. Gundu Raju ji.
हाँ, बहुत लोग क्या कर रहे हैं अब, उनके पास तो पपेट थे 300-400 साल का पुराना पपेट, वो सब बेच दिए। लेकिन मैं बता दिया, लेकिन क्या करेंगे हम तो, वो आंध्रा के लोग आते हैं इधर, 500 रुपए एक पपेट ले जाके वो बेच देते, पूरा पपेट बेच दिया उनको। अब तो जाके बेंगलुरु में, सिटी शहर में तो मरीजों को देखने का काम कर रहे हैं, 3-4 महीने अंदर रहते, लेकिन उनको मैं बुलाया, आ जाओ हम काम करेंगे, लेकिन वो मना कर दिए, क्योंकि हर महीना हमें 15 से 20 हजार रुपए मिल रहा है, खाना पानी उधर ही मिल जाता है, लेकिन हम बाहर आके क्या करेंगे, उतना पैसे कहाँ से मिलता है पॉपेट्री में, पॉपेट्री का जरूरत नहीं है।
Right. So the thing was that when Gundu Rajuji also went to them and he said that, why don't you come back to puppetry? So the response was that, no, we would rather be here because this is where our food is taken care of and we're not getting any money from puppetry in any case. They had sold off their old traditional puppets in just 500 rupees or so and to just wind it up. And so the sad part has been that they have not been able to come back to puppetry because that's not giving them the food that's needed for every day. Gundu Raju ji.
हाँ, अब तो ऑनलाइन में शो करने के लिए उनको नहीं आता, लेकिन तो प्रोफेशनल आर्टिस्ट है, उन्होंने तो गांव में जाके शो करने वाले, उनके पास अब स्मार्टफोन नहीं होता है, वो तो ऑनलाइन से करने का कुछ भी नहीं आता है, वो अनपढ़ लोग हैं। ऐसे में कोई प्रोफेशनल आर्टिस्ट इधर जो है, उन्होंने काम नहीं कर सकते उसमें, लेकिन हम तो हमारा बच्चे जो पढ़ा है वो हम तो मैं ऑनलाइन में काम करता हूँ, तो मुझे बता देते हैं ऐसा। लेकिन क्या है, पपेट्री के साथ दूसरा काम भी, मैं ड्रामा डायरेक्शन करता हूँ, कीर्तन करता हूँ। मैं कीर्तन सीखने से ये फायदा हुआ मुझे, इधर तो लोग जो ज्यादा मर रहे हैं ना, उनके वो 1 महीने का प्रोग्राम होता है उनका, तब तो कीर्तनकार को बुलाते हैं। पपेट्री में क्या होता है, बहुत लोग मिलना पड़ता है, लेकिन कीर्तनकार नहीं, 3 लोग मिलके वो शो करते हैं। उसके वो काम करने वाले, पपेट्री जो करने वाले थे, उन्होंने जाके वो शो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन पपेट्री पूरा बंद हो गया है।
So basically what's happening is that the artists, the puppeteers are switching to different jobs or are switching to different places which can give them money, but they have to literally wind up their puppetry, and that's sad. Gundu Raju ji, we have to, अब हमें next पे जाना होगा, तो अगर कोई आपके last कुछ summarize आप करना चाहेंगे कुछ last 2-3 lines में कि ताकि हम आगे बढ़ सके।
लेकिन ये क्या होना चाहिए, कलाकारों को बचाने का एक ही तरीका है, कोई संस्था, कोई पपेट हमारा तो जैसा संस्था है, उन्होंने वो कलाकारों को मिलके उनको ऑनलाइन से प्रोग्राम करने का, प्रोग्राम दिलाने का काम करना चाहिए। उससे उन पपेट्री लोगों को बचा सकते हैं, नहीं तो बच नहीं सकता ये साउथ इंडिया में।
So this is an appeal from Gundu Raju ji and all the artists in South India, saying that organizations, government, all of them need to come forward now to help the artists in puppetry. Otherwise, there is a scare of absolutely losing the traditional forms of puppetry from South India, which we absolutely will not let happen, Gundu Raju ji. And this is an appeal for everybody who's listening to please come up and support in whichever way we can. All the NGOs, organizations, corporates, government, we really need you. All us puppeteers need your support right now. Thank you so much, Gundu Raju ji, for sharing your report. Anurupa has also put in a very important point there, and which is also to train puppeteers in digital work. So Anurupa, we will be coming to this in things which have worked and things which we can take up at the end of the session. Now I'd like to introduce Gaurang sir to everybody. So Gaurangji, so Dr. Gaurang Charandas, he is going to tell us about what the situation is in Odisha. He's born in Odisha. He's completed his higher study from Robbinshaw College, Cuttack. He joined in the Education Department of Government of Odisha and retired as the head of the department Odia Languages and Literature from Robbinshaw University, Cuttack in 2016. A queer blending of creative and critical outlook. Besides many original creative writings and creative and critical works in literary field, he has devoted many years in the field of research and development in the art of puppetry. He obtained his PhD degree in 91 from Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, in recognition of his scholastic maiden research in puppet art in Odisha. Well, his journey as a puppeteer began in October 95 with the staging of Bapu Katha in Ravan Chaya style. He has done a lot of work in the aspect of puppetry, script developing and puppet making, music composition and manipulation as well. Well, I can go on and on about him because there's a lot that he has contributed into the puppet world. He's been into Shadow Theatre, Puppet World, an organization of puppets of Odisha, Katinanda, Kandigara, if I'm pronouncing it right, I'm sorry if I'm not, in Ananda Ashram in Angul. He's participated in many international, national seminars and workshops related in literature, culture, and puppet theatre as resource person. Outstanding contribution to the research on puppet art. Well, the study of shadow theatre in India, its tradition and scope of modernization. And here I would like Dr. Gaurang to please take over and tell us about the situation in Odisha in these COVID times, sir. Yes, Dr. Gaurang.
Okay.
Yes, sir, you're audible. Over to you. You could now please share the report from Odisha.
Okay. Okay, namaskar. This is indeed a rare opportunity to take part in a forum like this. And I owe my thousands of thanks to the organizers. At the outset, I would like to apprise these august listeners about the present status of the puppeteers of my state, Odisha. To me, this is the state where all the four kinds of puppets still exist. We, the puppeteers, breathe under one roof. We have an organization as Puppet World. In Odia, this is Kondhei Horror, the home of puppet play, consists of 27 families, 27 puppet troops. Out of the 19 marionette troops, 2 rod troops, 2 shadow puppeteer troops, 2 globe puppeteers troupe, and 2 contemporary puppeteers troupe. So in Odisha, the total number of puppet troops are 27. And it is noteworthy phenomenon, out of 27 families, only 2 globe puppeteers are traditional puppeteers. The rest of the families are the associations of like-minded artists belong to different strata of the society. Almost all of them have their landed property. Some are in government service, some are retired persons. And almost all of them have their landed property, globe puppeteers, and 2 marionette puppet troops are presenting shows around the year across the state. So 4 professional troops are there in Orissa, 2 globe puppeteer troops, that is Sakhi Kandi Nata, and 2 Mario puppet troops. Our performers are, of course, good in the art of puppetry, but they are not professionals. Whatever they earn, that add to their income. Here I want to highlight one major problem. The victims of corona are the globe puppeteers, the Sakhi Kandi Nata performers. They belong to Kerala, the snake charmer community. Primarily, they are Nomadic tribesmen and now settled people. In Kendrapada district, there is one village, Mantripada, that is the settlement of Kerala communities. They do not have their landed property. Nowadays, they are selling books, stationery articles in and nearby villages. They are struggling hard for subsistence. Very, very, very poor people, and I cannot share how they are living nowadays. They are not getting 2 handful meals in a day. Only 4 artist family are getting pension from Government of India. The financial condition of the rest of professional marionette troops are also worse. Who will extend their good hands towards them is a big question for me. And I'm always keeping touch with them over phone and talking with them how they are facing the problems and how they are overcoming the problems. And they are always, what shall I do? We have nothing to do more. That is a very sad scenario of the present condition. Now I would like to speak few words about this data puppet in Orissa. Our concern is not income, because we usually earn around 30,000 per month. That is our status, and that are to our income. We are sitting at home, taking care of our puppet friends with all sincerity and love. I want to note here that only 2 puppeteers family have expertise in puppet making. And in this sad state of scenario, they are making puppets and they are also trying to sell them on the market. In my case, I have also 2 very good puppeteers who have expertise in making rod puppets. And they are also engaged in my institute, and they are also making rod puppets, and we are trying to sell them. So that will add to their income. Then at times we feel as if the puppets are asking, how long you look after these imprisoned souls? They are now kept in the basket, and at times we are keeping them out and also cleansing them and also looking after them. What shall I do? Now that is the state of affairs. Our naive reply to them is that we love puppets, and the enigma for love lies in its deep sense of sacrifice. Now I want to note here that in Orissa, in 3 villages, marionette artists live. One village is there in Ganjam district. In that village, 8 marionette troops are there. 2 villages in the Dhenkanal district, 11 marionette puppet troops are there. 2 shadow puppeteer troops are there in Angul district, nearby villages, very close to each other. One is Odessa and one is Uttarimanda. And 2 globe puppeteers troops are there in Kendrapada district. So this is the place where the puppeteers live. And actually, the EZCC invited application from this artist for financial assistance. Is almost all of us have applied for that, but still we have not received any reply from EZCC. Repeatedly, we are requesting state government for financial assistance, but there is no reply. So in this sad scenario, what shall we do is a big question. Of course, we are passing through a hard time, but I am certain that this pandemic situation will fail to arrest our willpower. Because the Odisha condition is something different from a pan-Indian perspective. I am repeatedly telling this, that though all 4 kinds of puppetry exist in Odisha, only glow puppeteers belong to traditional community. Others are not traditional, but they are performing traditional puppet. So that's all. And we think, and when I talk with them, I get the answer that no, we'll win over. And this corona can never arrest us. So thank you.
Garima, are you online? I think Garima's network is not working. Yeah, Choiti, why don't you start, and maybe at the end Garima can do an introduction.
Hello, my name is Choiti, and I'm going to present here a report based on conversations with and through the people I spoke to about a few others in the community, approximately 17 or 18 contemporary puppeteers from the cities of Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Mangalore, Chandigarh, whose puppetry practices range from 20 years to 2 years. So as one of the puppeteers that I spoke to said, depending on the level of... Hi, should I continue? So as one of the puppeteers that I spoke to who said,
Yes,
depending on the level of security structures that exist for each individual, everyone's experience of the lockdown has been vastly different. But despite the differences, there were certain topics that were dominant, either explicitly or implicitly, in all the conversations that I had. And they sort of came up no matter which one of the questions that Unima sent I asked. So I will present these dominant points of the conversations. The first of which, of course, was economics. The second was mental and emotional well-being, which was, of course, connected to current productivity, future uncertainty. And the third was present and future puppetry work and adapting to the times. These were the 3 dominant points that kept coming up through all the conversations. The first of these points, economic security, of course, influenced all the responses to the latter 2 points. And among the puppeteers that I spoke to, there seem to be 2 groups. The first are those who depend on puppetry for 100% subsistence, which include self-support, supporting immediate as well as extended family, home rent, home loan, saving for children's futures and all other kinds of savings, with no additional family or any other kind of support structures. And the second group were those who have depended partially on puppetry for subsistence and other kinds of augmented income. This is before the lockdown. This is before Corona. This is how things have been. And other kinds of augmented income could be from non-puppetry arts like voiceover work, writing work, technical work, or school teaching, or through the support of existing family structures like family homes and all that comes with that. So let us start with the premise that across all the puppeteers that I spoke to, no one has received or heard of any other artist receiving any support from the government. Income for continuing work is a concern for everyone. And also additionally, survival is an additional concern for the former group, those without external support systems. 4 of the puppeteers that I spoke to and 3 others that I learned of received one-time financial support from individual members of the artist or puppetry community. And these amounts were sort of enough for, say, a one-time rent or one lot of food ration, or it enabled one online production. It seemed that almost everyone only began thinking about puppetry work after the initial shock of the first 3-4 months had passed. In the first 3-4 months, there was nothing, of course. And then after that, people started thinking about work and working, and the puppeteers who did not have to worry about immediate survival, either because they had savings or because of the larger support structures, or the 4 people who received 1 or 2 commissioned projects began to work in the following ways. The first was creating online plays or puppet films. The second was doing online workshops. The third was working on scripts and stories to be developed later. The fourth was self-training and skill development. A number of puppeteers mentioned that they self-trained or honed their skills in wood carving, string puppets, shadow work, mask, paper theater. And everyone who had worked, who had done puppetry work, everybody mentioned learning through doing about camera work, film editing, lighting. And the general feeling about the future is that technology is here to stay, not just in terms of creating work for online media or presenting workshops online, but about technology becoming an integral part of artistic content and treatment. And also a very strong feeling running through all the conversations was any future training of puppeteers now must include additional training in camera, film, and technology. And there seemed to be both a fear or a rejection, as well as an excitement or an acceptance of this prospect. There is uncertainty about the future, about the continuity of work, about survival, and about their own future in puppetry. 7 puppeteers mentioned that this time had served as a huge wake-up call and realized the need to have a plan B for additional sources of income in the future. 6 of them have already started or have already started working in this plan B, or are making plans towards having a plan B for income. Now, whether this is a full-time shift or a partial shift or a temporary or a permanent shift, that remains to be seen. When I asked about community support, solidarity, I received 2 kinds of responses. The first were people who have internet or telephone connection. They were in touch with their immediate groups, not always with the larger puppetry community. There was mention of one UNIMA India meeting. 4 people mentioned receiving support or projects from within the puppetry community, or being aware that puppeteers had extended support within and outside the community. The second kind of response was exactly the polar opposite of that. I was informed in 3-4 cases that the support came from unexpected places and from the larger artist community, not directly from the puppetry community. In one case, there was a questioning about the role of UNIMA in times of crisis. Now on to the future. Survival of the Indian puppeteer within puppetry is a point of concern. Rebuilding school audiences, theatre-going audiences was predicted to be between 6 months to 3 years. Theatres have officially declared to be reopened, but just a little anecdote, one puppeteer was told by the theatre he went to book that the permission had not actually come to the theatres in writing, and the announcement was only done to allow Ramleela performances in October. Another political implication has been that material for puppet making have become exponentially expensive due to the ban on Chinese goods. And the need for community seems to have become more important than before, not just for professional well-being, but also for personal well-being and for survival. Personally, I was struck as much by the quick adaptiveness of a lot of the puppeteers to the situations as I was struck by the huge difficulties that have been faced. I would like to end with a quote from one of the puppeteers that I interviewed, who said, "I wonder if we can start looking at training the emerging generation of artists, not just with excellent skills in a particular form, but also to hone their perspectives on how the artist fits in the society with their art." I have felt non-essential during this period. And I'm beginning to feel more and more that in India, the relevance and the place we give to artists and the community is too low and extremely in the fringe, end quote. Hence, there is a need for us to examine, realize, uphold with confidence, and widely disseminate the role of artists and the unique role of the arts in our society. That's all.
Very, very important what you said, Ms. Choiti. And also thank you so much for giving us the realistic and practical view into what is really going on the grounds there. I missed out on introducing Ms. Choiti because I had a connection error, and now I've joined again from the phone. So Choiti is a performer and the artistic director of Mumbai, Delhi-based object theatre company called Tram Arts Trust. Performances and object theatre training is at the center of Tram's work. Now, Choiti has been a recipient of the Sahitya Rangabhumi Vinod Doshi Fellowship in 2011 and the Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar by Sangeet Natak Academy for puppetry in 2016. Thank you so much, Choiti, for sharing what the situation has been back there. Now we move on to the, we call him fondly. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him before we move on to him. So he is a non-conventional storyteller who has been conceptualizing, scripting, designing, and directing plays since 1990, when he established the Dolls Theatre. He also earned a fellowship from the Ministry of Culture in 1989 to 91, Taming of the Wild, Padmagatha, Shatranj Ke Khiladi. These are some of his experiments that he calls and acclaimed works of his, and he's taken them on the stage. So he experiences with new frames on stage, using the puppet as a medium of modern day communicator, and brings perfect synchrony between live performances and puppets on stage. His group has propelled itself to the front line. The group has been a participant in the prestigious 8th International Puppet Theatre Festival, Tehran. And apart from that, he has traveled a lot around the world with his performances. He's gone to Bangkok, in Thailand, Iran, and many other countries. And he is the recipient of Sangeet Natak Academy Award for the year 2018. So thank you so much, Deepda, for taking some time out for us and coming here to share with us what is the situation in Bengal or Assam. So he's going to take us into an overview of the eastern part of India. And let's over to you, Sudeep sir.
Okay, namaskar and good evening to all of you. Yes, Garima already told, I will mainly discuss the artists involved in puppetry in Eastern India. Among these, our state of West Bengal has most traditional and modern puppetry groups. At present, we are about 340 artists involved in the traditional puppet group in West Bengal. There are about 80 artists involved in contemporary puppetry. And there are 120 artists in Assam, Tripura, and other states. In other words, in Eastern India, I mean, near about 550 artists involved in puppetry. From the news that we have been receiving about COVID-19 and lockdown in different countries of the world since last February and March 2020, we understood that we are going to have a very bad time. The lockdown in India started from third week of March, and very soon we realized this process was going to be long. In April, I keep in touch with the puppeteers over phone so that no one gets infestated. Since in the meantime, since in our activity, my house and studio are in a same place. We start the making puppets for a new place, and whole family work together to make the puppets. But traditional puppeteer who have farmed, who have farmland, engage themselves into a farming. But there are some traditional puppeteer who have no farmland and had in a service financial crisis have no money at all. In the meantime, in 2 districts of West Bengal experienced a super cyclone Amphan, and several traditional puppeteer artists lost their homes and due to the devastation. In these incidents, embarrassed us a lot. But I think during I remember during the floods of 1986 and 2003 and 2007 in West Bengal, it's happened a very huge flood. Many of traditional puppeteer moved to their profession, and mainly the traditional groups were lost. We have in this time, we the puppeteer of Kolkata have raised a fund and handed it over among some amount near about 40 traditional puppeteer on behalf of Puppet Munch. We told the traditional puppeteer to do not leave your tradition. Later, we have raised some money once again, which will be handed over to the needy artists very soon. So in the meantime, we convinced Eastern Zonal Culture Center and autonomous body of Ministry of Culture, Government of India, to organize an online puppet festival. They do it, and near about 50 puppet groups, both traditional and contemporary, participate in this festival from eastern part of India, West Bengal, Assam, Tripura, and others. Here in here is the online program. Here in West Bengal, online program are mostly offered to perform free for the online programs. So they are not ready to support financially. They are not ready to pay the online programs. Additional puppeteer have don't have a additional support to attend any online program. We see in other in Kolkata also there is a group Dhumketu Puppet Theatre. In October, they have organized a puppet group, but presence of audience is very poor. Still, parents are not ready to come with their children to watch puppet shows. So we hope for the better time and have to keep our hands together to overcome this situation. Thank you.
Right, Sudeepda, and together we will. And thank you so much for sharing your report for Bengal and East of India. So now this brings us to another question which I would like to put out to the panelists before we open it to the questions that some of our viewers have been sending us. One very important question is, yes, we know the situation has been sad and has been very, very difficult for all the puppeteers around the world, not just in India, but around the world. But like they say that there's always a silver lining in every dark cloud. We'd also like to know that what are the things that worked in this pandemic for the artists. So if any one of you would like to answer that question, that, what was the survival tactic, that has sort of worked for some, and if anybody would like to share that with us. Like I also know that a lot of us had gone into training some of the puppeteers or artists into how to use Zoom and how to use these other online platforms to sort of do their workshops there or to perform shows online. As we said, Teamwork has also been coming up with their festivals, and the Kahani online is happening right now. So a lot of things have been now shifted to online. So a lot of them are now coming up online. They're sending their pre-recorded videos. Some of them are doing live shows and workshops. And how has that experience been? Is there any way that has helped? Yeah, Rupa, please.
I think one of the things that that
yes,
has really
Anurupa,
been the silver lining, because there have been many challenges in everything that you see. If you talk about digital, it's only those who have access to digital technology who can, really get into Zoom calls and things like that. But I would say one of the things that I have noticed, and this is a personal observation, is this kind of conversation, whether it's one-on-one or in groups or in larger groups, has been quite interesting. I don't think I've got into so many conversations with fellow artists in a very, very long time. And they may not immediately have led to fundraising. They may not immediately have led to one result, a concrete result. But I think it did lead to me feeling less lonely in a time like this. And I think the way I've connected to some artists who I knew they were always around me and I took it for granted that they're around me, that is something that was very, very, very important. And I think it's something which is still serving as something, which that you can pick up your phone and talk to somebody, or if you have the luxury to get into a WhatsApp conversation or a Zoom conversation, it is a possibility with some of your fellow artists and puppeteers.
Right. I think that where all of us need each other, and a lot of artists have also spoken about mental health issues in these times where they've actually not been able to do the art, to perform what they are meant for, and that has brought a lot of depression to a lot of artists. And yes, we have been calling up each other, we've been motivating each other, we have been saying that things going to be all right, let's come online, let's try the virtual world. A lot of them have access to it, so it's privileged that they are being able to do it. With some, Dadi had also helped putting Wi-Fi into some of the artists in their houses. We've been training them on how to use the online world and raise funds for them, etc. We've been really hard, but I think yes, this is a great time to actually check on either and just pick up that phone and call. Yes, Anurupa.
I'd just like to add that somewhere we have to really congratulate some of the individual artists and their resilience. I mean, when you talk about internet connectivity, I have to talk about Ganesh Ghodai. He's in a village in Poddotamli, and we had the possibility of sending him some money for an online show. He trained himself to use Zoom. He doesn't have a smartphone. He used the neighbor's nephew's smartphone, learned to use Zoom, learned to record a video on the smartphone, and send us a WhatsApp video of his show. So I think some of this kind of individual resilience, that also teaching yourself something. He's not young, he is in his 50s. To teach yourself something so alien, so difficult, or something you didn't feel you needed to use till now. I think this kind of resilience is really, really important to acknowledge, and you do see these stories at this moment.
That's true. I'd also like to share my friend Manish Sachdev. He has come up with his COVID Diaries, which is a series of videos on bring awareness around COVID, which has been his production in this time. So he's made an entire series and is looking out for, he's pitching for people who'd like to buy, and organizations or government, or yes, of course, there has to be revenue coming in from there and some profit that he makes. But so that is how he utilized his time. So like that, there are many, many, many stories where I know that people, all the artists have come up there and are trying to shift to this new virtual world, which always existed. But for us, performance always means physical performance. But it's very interesting how that shift is happening, and how, like Anurupa said, they are trying to shift into virtual world. So that is really interesting. Anybody else here who'd like to share any one little small story of yes, Miss Ranjana? Yes, Ranjana, ma'am, you have to unmute yourself. Ma'am, you'll have to unmute yourself. Yes.
I'd just like to bring everybody's focus back to the first three presentations, Anurupa's presentation about the Kathputli community, Gundu Raju's about the South, and Gaurang's about Orissa. And you just have to compare these three to the stories that Choiti is telling, or that we are sharing with each other, to realize that there is a big divide between the traditional puppeteers, the world that they inhabit, and the urban spaces that contemporary puppeteers have access to. And it is very worrisome when Gundu Raju ji says कि वो puppetry छोड़ देंगे, नहीं कर सकते. And somebody else mentioned that the last time, Shrutipta said, that the last time there was a famine, or there was a typhoon, or there was a natural disaster, so many puppeteers left their profession because they could not sustain it. So people who are really living on the margin, on the edge, are in grave danger of just looking for their livelihood. You cannot blame them in the least bit. Shifting to a virtual world is a very tough task. Accessing them, for Gaurang to even talk to people and to get those traditional puppeteers to do something, is going to be an uphill task. So the only way that you can hope to support these pockets is to push the government institutions to look upon them as worthy recipients, and an art which is worthy of sustaining and saving. So, that is one suggestion that I can make, is that there are very good, details that have come out of the three presentations, that there are this many people, there are this many families, there are this many people who are suffering, and this list should be, should be put up, a kind of something that as a collective we can try to do, bring it to people's notice and do something like that. Because it seems that in Odisha, even individual efforts to help people the way it happened in Rajasthan, or the way Gundu Raju ji explained, did not happen. So there are definitely pockets which are struggling. It's extremely hard to see this. And in 10 years' time, or in 3 years' time, you might have 50% of the puppeteers would have left their jobs, would have left their work. And I'm being very optimistic when I say 50%.
Yes, Ms. Joyati.
I would just like to rephrase what Ranjana said. I don't think there are pockets that are struggling. I think there are pockets that are not struggling. It's largely even the urban puppeteers. Maybe in my report I presented a very rosy picture. It's not like that at all. Remarkably large number of puppeteers did mention some have already shifted, some are considering shifting, some already are starting making plans, plan B, moving out of the city, going back to the village, what they're going to do, setting up grocery shops. So what they don't know is whether the shops are full-time, whether they are part-time, whether they will be able to do puppetry on the side. I think it's very few pockets who are not struggling.
Yes,
Can
and
I say?
Dadi
Yeah.
also. Yes,
I
yes,
think
please, Dadi.
the most of us, or many of us, come from a position of privilege here, and the problem is that the even in the urban areas, the younger uh, modern puppeteers have to pay their rents, their food, whatever. So the pandemic, in many ways, has leveled, uh, you know, people from different class society. Though there's still a difference. Some people can manage for a certain amount of time, some can't. As we know, in Delhi, some of our young puppeteers have started doing online things. One of them has started an online grocery store. When they asked me, what do you think? I said, well, you have to do it. I mean, there is no other way. So I don't think I can say that, no, you must do just puppetry, because you have to have a plan B, as you said. There has to be something for all of us. And for some of us, it's easier because you're doing puppetry or design or some exhibition thing or, other things. But for many, it's not there. So, supposedly the Delhi government has recently, as you know, has a committee which they have formed, and hopefully, we don't know what will come out, but they're saying of arts education or whatever in schools. Let's see what happens. We don't know. Earlier also, other governments have tried. NCRT has tried, creative drama, or one of our first general secretaries, Jeevan Pani, and then President Mayor Contractor, they had made huge sheets of paper at NCRT about puppetry and creative drama for schools. And well, we don't know what happened eventually. It doesn't go filter down. It seems I'm not being optimistic, but it seems we all have to try and survive somehow on our own. And most of the grants, most of the aid that has been done, if you notice, has come from civil society, from NGOs. In some states, yes, there have been local governments, or maybe the zonal cultural centers have helped. And in some places, the authorities are even asking people to put things online without payment. Now, my question I put there is, do the puppeteers or do the artists want to do that? Or why do they want to do that? Is it just for recognition? Because eventually every penny counts, whatever comes in counts. So some of them are doing it with our academies online, things like that. And I don't know, that is a personal choice each person has to make. But well, we have to think about this. Our network in UNIMA India has, I think, been quite positive. We've been sending out newsletters. We've got a very active WhatsApp group. What is good is that I wish more puppeteers would join. There has always been sight, why UNIMA, why should we do this? But here is this network thing, and sharing is going on, and it would be good, because out of this also, of connection or network, certain help has come about to some puppeteers. I cannot say that it's a drop in the ocean, but then every drop counts. So it's yeah.
Very rightly said, Dadi, because I think UNIMA right now is, and there's solidarity. We know we are in it together. We know we have support system. We know that we can, help each other and support each other here. And I think a lot of people are coming up in helping. So now we're going to open this up to the audience for questions. We
Sorry,
have
Garima,
only 10 minutes.
I just want to make
Sorry.
one more comment. Also, it's mostly personal help, because we have been facing that in UNIMA International as well, because there is a commission for cooperation, and it's been small amounts have been coming, and they've been trying to figure out who to give it all around the world, small amounts. But in the end of the day, UNIMA is also not an aid organization. So there are problems, and what we are trying to do is that in each country, put people in touch, hopefully, with organizations that can assist or help, or, in some way, or find people or connect people. I know for a fact that in Jaipur, some of the puppeteers connected through some people, through the chief secretary, and then blah, blah, blah. And then some little thing came, or some help was given. So like that, some of us have contacts, and that would be good if that would be used at this point of time. Yes.
Yes, Dadi. So now we're going to open this up to the questions that we've got in the comment boxes, and we have only 10 minutes to go. So the first question is from Dr. Samiksha Parekh. She says, my question is there any proposal to introduce traditional art forms like shadow puppetry in new education policy, which could have help in promoting these art form in youth? Anurupa, would you like to answer this one?
I'll do part of the answer. I think Dadi and Ranjana might want to jump in. So one of the things that we have been trying to do is to organize small shows for the traditional puppeteers online, specifically for younger people from not their own regions. The reason being that for many, many years, when traditional festivals are organized and traditional puppeteers are presented, one of the things which is said is, oh, people don't understand the language in the show, or people don't understand this form of puppetry. So, and a very interesting model that worked out was, as you know, there was the Durga Pujas recently, and they were all public Durga Pujas were banned. So a lot of them, at least in Delhi, decided to do online cultural programs, and some of them contacted a few of us. And I'd contacted Gundu Rajuji, and he has a story called the Shatakantha Ravan. It's a fabulous story. I think it only exists in a couple of the traditional puppet forms. It doesn't exist in any of the other oral narratives also. So he created a digital performance, and first thing I must tell you is it's very high quality, and it was shown in this completely public domain. People who haven't seen puppetry before definitely haven't seen shadow puppetry and Togalu Gumbayata, and it was very, very well received, and a couple of other people came and asked for shows like this. So I think what you are asking, Samiksha ji, have these platforms appeared? Yes, organically some of these things have happened, and also the result has been, and I think this is a really, really interesting moment in time to try this out, because people can't access only their regional and local shows, to take shows across the country and to take some format to younger people, because there is also a demand for performances. Gundurajuji was paid for this performance, and it was a short 10-minute performance, and I did a little introduction to what Togalu Gumbayata is. And I think this is what really helped is that it's a shadow puppet form, already 2D, works quite well on the in this digital platform. And suddenly there was an interest in Togalu Gumbayata in Delhi, in a non sort of puppet going audience. So I think these are little possibilities which I think we can really expand and multiply these kind of possibilities. Someone else suggested training. I know Vijay was talking about training Katputli colony young people to use the camera, but I know that a lot of puppeteers across the traditional community want to now learn how to use Zoom, how to use digital platforms to present their work. And I think this is one of the things we we've already been writing, Ranjana and I have been writing a few proposals to do this already, but maybe we'll have to do this now in another way. It would have been good if somebody had financially supported this project, which we were trying to do, but we'll have to do it in very, very small ways and hold small meetings and train people in using the digital platform is probably going to be our next step in any case.
Right, and Rupa, like Mr. Vijay has also put in the comment box, and where he's saying that what could be a creative response to this crisis is a very, very important aspect going towards positivity and optimism. I know the situation is very difficult right now for everybody, but the only option, honestly, if we want to still stay with our creativity, and we've worked really hard on it, and is to change into new times, and then to get into this, because this is here to stay. This might come back. The reality is that. So the idea would be to find creative ways to actually deal with this crisis, and to be able to make that shift mentally, emotionally, and professionally. Yes, Choiti.
To how can we deal with this crisis creatively? Just personally, I can say that those of us who are who are privileged, who have family support, who have all this, every project, who have the luxury of continuing our work without having to think about food or rent or survival or any of these things. Every project that we are thinking about, every project that we are conceptualizing, everything has an element of fundraising. Everything has an element of how can we commission a new work of art, how can we create more work. We are a very small company, but that's what we are, and I think if possible, then a lot more of us, then like we can all sort of try to design projects in ways that we can keep part of the project which has an element of generating more work or generating more support for other puppeteers.
Talking of collaborations and talking of including them in, please inform. I mean, we have a WhatsApp group, we have a page on Facebook. Please inform each other of any festivals coming in, if there are any collaborations that are possible with each other.
Yes, of course, definitely that. But also we have to realize to even make more work, to make new work, to present new work takes money. A lot of our puppeteers don't have it. So can we keep a section of the money that we make to commission new work? Like Katkatha has already done it. I think Ashara has already, so this is just to spread this word that this is a model that has worked. People have done it before. So if more of us do it, then we can probably try to reach more people, commission new work, give dissemination support. You already have a work of art. Can we provide financial support for you to take it digital, do more shows, provide publicity and support system so that it reaches more audiences, so that it keeps generating income? Even though selling online shows is very difficult now, it's not easy, but can we collectively provide that support so that at least there is a possibility of generating income through digital shows? Can we commission, even if it's with a small amount, can we commission a new work of art by another puppeteer who can perform it online?
Sure.
These are just things that we are thinking about, and we are starting a project which is going to be in November and in December, in the last weekend of November, first weekend of December, where we are running an online object theatre festival. And the proceeds from this, the plan is to commission a new artwork that can be run online by another puppeteer. So I'm just saying that.
Right. Unima India is also planning some online festivals for traditional puppeteers as well, later for contemporary as well. So yes, Choiti, very, very important what you said. And I think that could be a solution in these times. Dadi, you want to say something? Yes, Dadi. Dadi, you have to unmute yourself, please. Dadi, you have to unmute yourself, please.
Your mic is off. Your mic is off.
I think you have to try again. Your mic is off. Yes, now. Yes, Dadi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can, yes.
Okay. There are two things here. One, the puppeteers, many of the traditional puppeteers also live on selling things. बेचते हैं craft बना के बेचते हैं. जैसे गुंडूराजू says आंध्रा वाले ये जो है, और they have not got the markets for it right now because of isolation, festivals are not there, things like that. We have done ages ago, I'm talking of 15, 20 years ago, with about 10, 15 of Shadipur's craftspeople, to create better and I would say more, a little different stuff that they would normally sell in the market. Right now, also the easiest for them is to buy stuff in Thok from Jodhpur and all and sell it. If you see at Dastakar also right now. And up to a point, people will get, not everybody is going to buy it. Maybe a foreigner might buy it. But there has to be some more creative input that some of us can put in. Our 3 of our puppeteers in Delhi have, I pushed them, I helped them, I supported a bit by renting the stall at the Dastakar Mela right now, and they have started. Of course, they're saying, "Aaj itne log nahi aaye, aaj aaye." I said, forget it, as long as you have covered the rent of your stall and you have started, they've already started making things. So there is a कुल्हड़ अपने ही पैर पे, in the sense that there is sometimes a lethargy of trying new things, you know, making new things also. If they're making one sock puppet, will carry on making that. If they're making something else, it's the same thing. So there was no time to creatively think because there were other problems in this period. But now they have realized that if they keep doing the same thing, it's not possible. I know for a fact that Idoia has ordered some of these puppets and the box is gone for her to sale in her museum shop, and she has helped. So there are places like that where we so-called slightly privileged ones have to now find and assist. I think there has to be that, whether you can call it as whatever, but because it's not just performance is one thing. Yes, all the Rajasthani puppeteers, most of them are trying to live on selling stuff and not necessarily very good stuff. So is there a possibility that even if 2 or 3 come out and make good stuff, the rest will all copy because they're very good at copying? Shadow puppeteer, leather. The Indonesians make fantastic craft objects with their leather puppets. It's not just miniature puppets or lamps. There are other things also that are possible. Maybe get some grant or design thing, or even what do you call it, from the design school NID when they have their design practice towards the end. If somebody wants to come and help or work with puppeteers to create, you know, more different objects, that's a possibility to try, I think.
Yes, Dadi, and I think, yes, very rightly said, and where Idoia also agrees, and she's saying that it's very important to teach puppeteers not only puppetry, but also how to manage and how to do the management bit of it. They're also learning marketing skills, they're learning how to promote themselves in the social media, and also they're not just performing now, but have become managers also of their own work. And which could be challenging, but at the same time, it's a new skill to learn for the ones who like to go and dive into it. So this brings us to the end of the session because it's also, we are constrained on time. I would like Ms. Ranjana to please wind up the session for us and to summarize and to take us towards the end of the session, towards the conclusion. Over to you, Ms. Ranjana.
Thank you, Garima, and thank you very much for attending the session. I see that 28 people have stood their ground and have been part of this. I wish it was a larger number because we just heard how many puppeteers and how many puppet families there are. But I feel that the technology divide is what is going to trouble the community. this training in technology is probably one of the most important gifts you can call of the coronavirus. And that is what has to be taken up with the traditional puppeteers, with everybody, so that they are able to use this platform, as this technology, as Jyoti said, is something which is going to be our friend in the future. And we cannot deny it. We have to simply accept it, take the bull by the horns. And as Anurupa said, we have to look creatively. We can't have large training programs. We don't have the money for it. Nobody has given us the resources. But we can put up small trainings in small pockets all over. The role that UNIMA can play is to put this out to the larger community and generate a request for this training and say that, all right, maybe Sudipta can tell us that in his area or in Gundu Raju sir's area, here are 10 puppeteers who would be willing to come together around a laptop for a training with their mobile phones. And perhaps some technologically savvy person, maybe an Atul, or maybe somebody locally, or maybe somebody from Bangalore, or maybe somebody who's aligned to puppetry like Ramani can be requested to take on this training. So that definitely becomes one of the areas where we need to push. And the second is, of course, that we continue to share resources, whether they are, we've shared very generously personal resources. Each one of us has been somebody or the other. But we need to also share resources about materials, about ideas, about opportunities, about festivals, about collaborations, about especially now there are many more festivals which are happening online. I wonder how we can share that information with all the members of UNIMA. That is something that UNIMA could put together and do. We could also put together a directory or like a listing of all the puppeteers who are not UNIMA members, but who we know are living in pockets and working in various parts of the country. In Maharashtra, in Kerala, in Karnataka, in Andhra, in Tamil Nadu. We reached out to Tamil Nadu, we reached out to Uttar Pradesh, we reached out to Bangalore, to Maharashtra. We tried to reach almost every pocket. But everywhere the story was the same. And everyone wanted to know what is it that UNIMA can do. So UNIMA is not a grant and aid agency. It can share resources, it can bring people together, it can promote a sense of community, it can develop a sense of mutual support, and it is definitely a platform for discourse about puppetry, the importance by a puppeteer, about what is the relevance of puppetry in today's world, in this shifting world that we are facing at the moment. So what is the relevance? Is there any relevance? And that is a debate that we can definitely pick up. And that is definitely, we can invite people to share their ideas, to share their notions about it. And we can, so that people have a vocabulary to understand their own position, their own space, what the space that they occupy today, and what is it that they want for themselves from tomorrow. Otherwise, it will only be about where my next meal is coming from. So I think these are the 2-3 points that we need to keep in mind and somehow take it forward. And I think UNIMA, Garima and Atul and Dadi and Anurupa, all the key people in UNIMA at the moment today, and all the members should continue this effort of staying connected and making this community stick together.
Right. Thank you so much, Ranjana ma'am. And we all are going to, of course, try our level best to do that. And this is an appeal for everybody who has been listening and watching us, that please think of creative ideas, of collaborations, and how is it that we all can work together in solidarity and help each other, well, emotionally for the mental health, physically being there for each other, and economically helping anyone, financially helping anyone if there's a possibility. And more important, like everybody said, it's very, very important for us to be there for each other. And I think UNIMA stands for that. And we will be coming up with a lot of other things in our networking and in coming up with online festivals and helping each other out. So let's all hang in there. I'd like to say, let's all just hang in there and be with each other. I'd like to thank all the members who are here today, all the panelists for taking out time for this roundtable that we've had today. Thank you so much, UNIMA International, for being here and helping us out. Thank you, Dadi. Thank you, Anurupa, Ranjana. All of you and your support and your vision is helping us take UNIMA towards a greater possibility of opportunities for everybody. And thank you so much to all the panelists for having come in today, and to all the viewers who've watched us and been with us for this almost 1 hour 45 minutes. Thank you so much. And this is a big, big thank you from UNIMA, Puppeteers Trust India. And we will keep you all posted for whatever is happening. You can please send in your ideas on the Facebook page. Thank you so much. And we will, of course, look at our Facebook page, and we will be taking in your ideas and suggestions and advice. And we'll try our level best to work as hard as possible to make this to make these forms of puppetry stay for good. And on that positive note, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody, and bye-bye. It was very interesting to know what's happened in India. For myself, I'm very fascinated by India because you have the possibility to mix tradition and contemporary art, and it's like an example, I think, for other country. So thank you for this session. I just want to say that the next one will be Mexico, the 24th of November. And after that, we will have Belgium, the 7th of December, and Venezuela 1 week after, so the 14th of December. So all the national centers have the possibility to make their own roundtable. So you just have to write to me to resiliar@unima.org, and we will work together to make your own roundtable. So thank you very much, and see you soon, I hope. Not in virtual, but in real, maybe in Bali or in other country, I don't know. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you, Claire, for all your support. We'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.